Made by people like you.
Your community.
Your radio.
Your Preston FM.
Today is the 25th of May. It's got a couple of awesome geek relations. The first one we're going to talk a little bit about, well, quite a bit about now actually. It is Towel Day. If you've never heard of Towel Day, if you've no idea what's going on, quick introduction to Towel Day is all to do with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I'm not really good on the lingo, but I'm going to talk to a gent in a minute his name is David Haddock. David Haddock is a member of ZZ9 plural Z Alpha, the official Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Appreciation Society. He's been there for nearly 13 years. Now, when I first received my battered and bruised copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it was from my mum. It was her copy, and it was actually older than me. It's possibly good. I'm 33. Do the maths. I'm not worried about being old or young. Whatever you think, I'm happy. But yeah, she gave me this battered and copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it had the big words on the front, "Don't panic." And she literally handed it to me and went, "Read this, you'll love it." And that was the whole conversation about the book. That was all we discussed. Read this, you'll love it. And she's right, I did. It was absolutely phenomenal. It's based... So, we're going to find out in a minute when we talk to David, but Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy originally started as a BBC radio play, and there was 6 episodes, and it was funny in a typically kind of British way. And then Douglas Adams wrote it into a more logical and structured sort of book, and it took over the world. So here's the interview I did earlier this week, all about today with David Haddock.
Made by people like you.
Your community. Your radio.
Your Preston FM.
I am talking to David Haddock, ex-president of ZZ9. David, how you doing?
I'm fine, thanks, Millie.
Good. I guess we should start with what's being a president of ZZ9 all about?
ZZ9, or to give it its full title, ZZ9 plural Z Alpha, the official Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Appreciation Society, ZZ9 for short, is an organisation that's been going since about 1980, and for fans of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the other creations of Douglas Adams. So I joined in 2001. After a while, I started writing for the quarterly magazine that we have. Then I got more involved and was on the committee in various positions. And a couple of years ago, I was president. And now I'm ex-president.
It's a great title. I like it. So this is all about Towel Day. So what is Towel Day? So
Towel Day is a day for taking your towel with you, because the towel is the hoopiest thing you can have with you, according to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And it's in memory of Douglas Adams. He died on May the 11th, 2001. So at the age of 49, that was quite a shock to people, him dying pretty young. And a group of people got together on the internet and said they should mark it in some way, and they decided to organise an event 2 weeks afterwards to carry towels in appreciation of Douglas and his works. So Towel Day is 2 weeks after his death. That was the first Towel Day in 2001, and people have carried on ever since. So it's not on his death, it's 2 weeks after his death. So always May the 25th. Which this year is Sunday.
It is. It's Sunday. It's I guess a testament to how amazing and how loved his works are, that people have from all over the UK, all over the world, kind of decided to celebrate his work in such a way. And
yeah, I think it's one of those pieces of work that touches a lot of people, different people in different ways. I first got into hitchhikers when I was a teenager, so I was at that sort of impressionable age, so it made a big impact on me when I first read the novels and then I got into the radio series and so on.
I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, but when I first read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it was literally my mum gave me a battered and bruised copy of the book and went, read this, you'll love it. And it went on from there. She was right. And it's that sort of word of mouth that I think has kept it going so strong.
Yeah, and ZZ9 is one of those organisations that is sort of trying to keep the flame alive and do things.
So you've organised a tour of Cambridge as well?
Not this year. I have in the past done tours of Cambridge, and last year when it was on a Saturday, we organised some talks as well in Cambridge Library. That was fun, and we had some of Douglas's family come along, which is a little bit nerve-wracking, showing them around Cambridge and where he used to live and the places he used to drink and so on. This year I'm going to Paris. There's in the UK the big event is in Leicester at Leicester Space Centre, but I'm going to Paris because I'm having a year off and seeing a friend of mine who organises a Tal Day event there. And Douglas wrote the Douglas Adams story, which is set in Paris. So we're actually going to do a City of Death tour of Paris on Sunday morning.
So you've mentioned one of his other works there. Obviously, everybody is aware of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but he did so much more than that. For people who have got very excited, what other works would you recommend they now dive into after Hitchhiker's?
Well, there's the two Dirk Gently books. So Dirk Gently is a private detective, a holistic private detective, and so they're sort of they're not actually mystery books because you know who did it, but the unraveling of the story and how the rest of the characters work out what's going on is very interesting and amusing. So there's the two Dirk Gently novels. Douglas spent a year as the script editor of Doctor Who. He wrote 3 scripts himself, or partly was involved in. So a couple before he was script editor. So things like the Pirate Planet, which is in the Key to Time series. That was these are all Tom Baker era stories. Then when he was script editor, he rewrote somebody else's script, which ended up as being the City of Death, the story set in Paris. And there was a third story that was set in Cambridge, but that would never finished filming because of industrial action. So there's Douglas Adams Doctor Who stories you can get on video. Douglas never novelised them, but the one that was never broadcast was novelised last year or the year before by a guy called Gareth Roberts, who is currently working on novelising City of Death. So you can get these in novel form, or next year you'll be able to get some of them in novel form.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's his non-fiction book, Last Chance to See, which is about endangered animals when he went travelling with a zoologist called Mark Carwadine, which is actually some of his funniest writing and most poignant, in my opinion.
And he was involved with a couple of rhino charities. One of the things I noticed is that one of the suggestions on how to commemorate and celebrate Tal Day was to make a donation to one of these charities.
Yeah, every year near his birthday, and I think next year it is actually on his birthday, which is 11th of March, the Save the Rhino have a annual Douglas Adams Memorial Lecture. So that's in London, and there's enough to fill the Royal Geographical Society lecture hall. Next year it's going to be Neil Gaiman who's going to be a big draw. This year it was Simon Singh and Roger Highfield talking about mathematics and The Simpsons and things like that. They're always sort of fun topics and usually pretty interesting as well. So yeah, Douglas did this trip, sort of a number of trips to various parts of the world, so New Zealand, Africa, Madagascar, and China and so on, to look at endangered species back in the mid to late 80s. And he went to see rhinos in Africa and wrote a book about his experiences, the Last Chance to See book, which was sort of updated as a TV series with Stephen Fry doing Douglas's role as the enthusiastic amateur, while Mark Carwadine is the knowledgeable expert. A couple of years ago, so that was on TV. But after Douglas published the book, the guys that were setting up Save the Rhino involved him, and he became founder patron of Save the Rhino, and was involved in walking up Kilimanjaro in a rhino suit. These are the rhino suits that you see in the London Marathon. Yeah. They loan them out to people to go and run marathons and do silly things in them to raise money.
It's been awesome to hear all about this. Can you give us any tips for people who want to impromptu celebrate Towel Day? They're hearing the show right now.
There's the website, towelday.org, and there's events all over the world. I've pointed people at events in Prague. I'll be in Paris. There's the hopefully the big event in Leicester Space Centre. Uh-huh. But have a look at on Facebook or and there, and you might find something of your own. But if not, just grab a towel, stick it over your shoulder, and wander around. And if people are asking you, just say you're remembering Douglas Adams. And if they don't know, introduce them to his work, because if they haven't encountered it, they're lucky people, because they've got a whole bunch of interesting and funny stuff to read and listen to and watch.
Well, thank you very much. Have a wonderful Towel Day.
Thanks very much. You too.
103.2 Preston FM.
We dare to be different.
Now you're all clued up, get your towels out and send me some pictures of how you're doing. I've got my towel. I made sure that I packed a towel to run Liverpool Marathon with, so you've got no excuse because you're sat at home. Go and find a towel, snap a pic, tweet it, include the hashtag Towel Day. Be nice if you could include me, but you don't have to. When I get back from the marathon later on this afternoon, I'm going to make sure my kids, last year we decorated some towels and we stuck things on and we did stickers on towels. You do the same, tweet me some pictures, let me see what you're doing.
Sunday nights from 9. Join Steve Franklin live for Preston FM's weekly request show.
Could I have some Pink Floyd for my mum?
Gino by Dixie's Midnight Runners.
Can I request 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton, please?
What a way to make a living.
Lavender by Marillion.
Sunday nights from 9. 103.2 Preston FM. The weekend stops here.